Supporters of former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan have clashed with security forces following his dramatic arrest on Tuesday. Khan was taken into custody during a court appearance in Islamabad on corruption charges. His detainment marks a dramatic escalation of political tensions in the country. Protests erupted in several cities across Pakistan, including Islamabad, Karachi and Khan's hometown of Lahore.
Protests in Pakistan have reached the military's doorstep. Supporters of Imran Khan stormed the residence of a top army official in Lahore.
The nation is in tears. We are extremely upset. We hope that international NGOs, local NGOs will raise voice for the violation of human rights, our fundamental right to protest.
This is the moment that sparked the latest turmoil. Pakistan's former Prime Minister being dragged from court in Islamabad and shoved into this black pickup. Khan had appeared to face corruption charges on Tuesday when paramilitary troops forced their way into the courtroom.
The Rangers went in. They broke the windows. They hit Mr. Khan on the head with a baton. Mr. Khan started bleeding. All the guards present were also beaten. All the lawyers were sprayed in the face, which caused them to pass out and fall to the floor. And they dragged Mr. Khan from there.
Pakistan's Interior Minister said Khan's arrest was related to a different legal case and that he had ignored an arrest warrant to turn himself in. The former Prime Minister is facing dozens of charges of corruption. He was ousted from power last year following a no-confidence vote, but remains the leading opposition figure. Khan and many of his supporters are seeing the ousting as part of a broader conspiracy by the military.
You know, it's a coercion on democracy, basically. You know, first they ousted him from power, then they stopped him from campaigning around the country, then they finally tried to assassinate him twice, and now they've arrested him. So the process was very clear that they just didn't want Imran Khan out and about.
Against the backdrop of a severe economic crisis, Khan remains influential. Across the country, people turned out in force to protest his arrest. If convicted, Imran Khan, by far the most popular opposition politician, will likely be prevented from running in the upcoming elections in October.
Right, well, for more, let's cross straight to Karachi and speak to journalist Yusra Askari. Welcome to DW. Now, chaos has broken out across, in several parts of Pakistan. Tell us about the dangers of this.
Absolutely. Last evening has seen an uproar across the country. We have seen Khan's strongholds in Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa up in arms, large numbers of protesters out on the streets, burning government installations, armed forces installations. We have also seen pockets of protest in Quetta and in Karachi, where Khan's support is far lesser in number, but the protesters are out on the streets. We have seen buses damaged, vandalized, and burned, and we have seen police installations attacked as well. Our reports do tell us that at least 6 people have lost their lives and several others are injured in various parts of the country. This does present a great danger if protests do continue. At the moment, the army and the armed forces have yet to quell protesters and their anger. But how this will pan out in the next couple of hours, one will have to wait and watch.
All right, well, Khan was arrested in a highly dramatic fashion, we'll say. Why do you think the authorities acted the way they did?
Whereas Khan's arrest might have been dramatic, one can easily say that we are not surprised to see that he was arrested. A day earlier, the armed forces issued a very strongly worded statement by means of inter-service public relations, and they said that they would no longer stand for these claims being made by Imran Khan and his party. Before Imran Khan proceeded to Islamabad from his home in Lahore, he issued a 6-minute-long statement that clearly said the dangers of arrest were present. And after he was taken into custody, we did see a video statement that was reported being released. So clearly, arrest was in the offing. But the way protesters have reacted, important government installations, the ruling party's offices, other such important buildings have been attacked. And this does indicate an outpouring of rage across the country. How this will be countered, how the government and the authorities choose to act, and how the next few hours will pan out, we will have to watch closely.
Now, we're also hearing that internet services are disrupted and that social media has been blocked across Pakistan. What more can you tell us on this?
Absolutely. From last morning, we saw internet speeds becoming sluggish and slow. This was noted by many, many users. And after the arrest, we saw that important social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook were slowed down and later taken down. We cannot post updates from Pakistan at the moment. Uploads are hugely impossible. At the moment, there are some pockets of internet connectivity in parts of the country, but large parts of the country remain without internet connectivity. This has created news to trickle. We're only receiving bits and pieces of news, and that is the way I think the government chooses to tackle or to quell the numbers on the street. But there are trickles of information coming in that Mr. Khan is likely to be presented in court. A special guest house in police lines has been converted into a courtroom where he will appear later today.
Askari, a journalist in Karachi, thank you.
And for more, I'm now pleased to welcome Akbar Ahmed. He's a professor at the School of International Service at the American University and former Pakistani High Commissioner to the UK and Ireland. Mr. Akbar, welcome to the day. You have compared today's events to a Greek tragedy. Why is that?
Well, Aristotle defined a Greek tragedy as a heroic character like Imran Khan, who takes on many challenges. In his case, he built the first cancer hospital, he's built universities, he's become the prime minister against all odds, and symbolizes that kind of figure that Aristotle talked about. And then at the end, there's some conflation of events, and he may come to a bad end. And I fear that this arrest and his injury and the way they're treating him may, in fact, lead to that tragic end. That is the classic Greek tragedy.
Khan was arrested. We saw it there in a highly dramatic fashion with dozens of paramilitary troops shoving him into an armored vehicle on the court premises. Why do you think authorities acted the way they did?
I think they had run out of options, both he and the authorities, because the authorities just could not contain him. And he had given a very strong statement as a result of the comments of the DG, the head of the Inter-Services Press Corps, and that created a very heated environment between the army and Khan, and something had to give. And the establishment decided to arrest him, and that has escalated into, as you know, right across Pakistan, there have been riots and people attacking buildings, especially army buildings. There are sites which are unprecedented. The mobs going into the GHQ, which is the headquarters of the Pakistan Army, walking into the Corps Commander's house in Lahore and actually burning parts of it. And there was a young man who had a bird in his hand, and a TV reporter said, "What is this?" And he said, "This is a peacock." And he said, "This was in the house of the Corps Commander. He stole it from the nation, so I've stolen it from him." So there's a mood of, a very dangerous mood of a revolution in the air, and that is what I fear. Pakistan must come to grips and pull back from the brink, or it may be very difficult to pull back.
Yeah, I want to talk about the dangers in a minute, but can you explain to us first what the Army's role is in all of this?
The Army's role always has been very central in Pakistan in helping or interacting with, or sometimes being over-enthusiastic in interfering with the civil and political structures of Pakistan. And Khan and the army had come to a kind of modus vivendi where they were working well together until Khan fell out with the commander-in-chief, Bajwa. And that, of course, led to his present predicament. So the relationship between the civil government and the army is, in one sense, now being redefined. Unless, of course, there's a martial law and the army then again takes over power, and that again would take Pakistan away from the democratic path.
This all is happening against a backdrop of various other crises plaguing Pakistan at the moment. How big of a powder keg is the country right now?
It is absolutely a powder keg. Don't forget that Pakistan is a nation of 220 million people. It is nuclear. At this moment, you're seeing the leaderless situation of Pakistan. You then have the re-emergence of the TTP, which is a deadly faction of the Taliban. They're playing havoc, blowing up people, attacking hospitals, schools, everything they can get, soft targets they can lay their hands on. And then, of course, you also have a major economic crisis following the floods in the lower part of Pakistan. So yes, it is a critical time for Pakistan. And that is why the leaders of Pakistan have to sit together and come up with a solution. People want elections. There should be elections. A date should be given. And whoever wins then should try to solve the problems of Pakistan.
But at this point, the system seems deadlocked, doesn't it? Is there anyone in the country who could mediate between the parties?
Well, in history, you always have these mysterious Napoleonic figures who emerge to solve the situation. But at this moment, you can't tell because these politicians seem exhausted and Imran is now in jail and his supporters feel there's a lot of speculation whether he'll even survive. There are fears that they may do him in while he's in jail. So it's a very uncertain, as you said, it's a powder keg.
What's the way forward? Because elections were supposed to happen this year. Where does all of this leave hopes for a general election and for the democratic process to proceed?
This was the major problem, that the government seemed to have been reluctant to hold election because they obviously feared that if there are elections, Imran would come in. Imran continued to be very threatening and said, if I come in, I'm going to be involved in retribution and, in a sense, take revenge for what's been happening. And that scared the government even further into fudging the date for the elections. So unless there's some decision about elections, the problem will not be solved. And maybe if there's mediation from some friendly countries respected by both Imran Khan and the government, in fact, all the parties, they may be able to put the factions together and have a face-to-face meeting. And these countries could include Turkey, they're always popular in Pakistan, or Saudi Arabia, or Malaysia. These are countries which have some clout in Pakistan and would be able to move the needle, as it were, right now.
Thank you so much for your analysis. That was Akbar Ahmed, Pakistan's former High Commissioner to the UK and Ireland. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.